It is almost a year since the Taliban retook power in Afghanistan, and resistance forces loyal to the previous government are fighting an insurgency. At the moment, clashes are limited to a handful of areas, long known for anti-Taliban sentiment, and the group dismisses the threat posed by them. But resistance forces are behind the most sustained clashes Afghanistan has seen over the past year. Sukunda Kamani was given rare access to one of the areas where they've been active, the Andarab Valley.
Out on patrol, the Taliban are now more powerful than they've ever been, more powerful than the old Afghan government ever was. But in this scenic part of the country, they're facing a resistance movement. A small band of guerrillas, led by former army soldiers, is launching attacks here in Andarab, as well as in neighbouring Panjshir province, where they recently managed to bring down a Taliban helicopter. It's hard to get a sense of the true scale of the fighting. The resistance exaggerate their strength, whilst the Taliban outright deny their presence.
You can see yourself, we only have a small military presence here. There are no problems.
I was told of at least one ambush on a Taliban vehicle in this valley.
That was a long time ago. We carried out some operations in the mountains, and now there is nothing.
Elsewhere in this province, resistance fighters managed to take over a Taliban military post, pulling down their flag. But when we visit Andarab, they're the ones in charge. From what we've seen, the Taliban are in firm control of the territory here. That's presumably why they're happy for us to have visited. But they're also accused of committing serious human rights abuses and trying to stamp out this resistance movement. Relatives told us villagers Abdul Hashim and Noorullah were detained and killed after wrongly being accused of attacking the Taliban. These are the dead bodies of a doctor and 5 members of his family murdered last year. Relatives allege he was targeted for treating members of the resistance. Earlier this year, another doctor was also killed. I've been told of 2 doctors in Andarab who were killed, 4 young men who were killed after being detained. We've spoken to people who knew them, eyewitnesses. They say they were arrested and then shot.
There was one doctor who was killed at his home. That was due to some personal feud. As for people being taken out of their homes, detained, bound, and then killed, we totally refuse this. Yes, if there is a clearance operation in an area and someone violently resists the government forces, they will be killed or arrested. That happens everywhere in the world.
Accompanied by Taliban fighters at all times, it was hard to gauge what locals really think. Many we contacted secretly strongly opposed the Taliban, but some also criticised the resistance forces. We managed to speak to one of their commanders. Surely there's no actual chance of you defeating the Taliban, so what's the point in continuing the violence?
Our fight is for justice, for brotherhood, equality, and for the real Islam, not the Islam of the Taliban, which defames the religion. Our fight is for the rights of our sisters. The Prophet Muhammad said education is compulsory for both men and women.
The Taliban's insurgency over the past 2 decades was in part fueled by anger at aggressive raids and the killing of civilians by international forces and the Afghan army. Here in Andarab and the surrounding areas, despite recruiting some locals, many see the Taliban as outsiders, and they risk repeating the same mistakes as their old opponents. Sukunda Kamani, BBC News, Andarab.